Bye-bye. Thank you for that. Hello. Running around getting all set up today. If someone would just drop in the chat, let me know that you can like hear and see me and stuff. I always worry about that. Thank you. It's a small group today. Hello, good afternoon. I did forget to email everyone, so I did do that. That'll help. Let me go close my door real quick. And hello. It's so good to be back with you guys again. I can't believe we only have one more of these after today. I'm sure you guys are not as torn up about that as I am. It's okay, I don't take it personally. I hope everyone has had a nice week and that you are excited about dots. If you're where you probably ought to be or had planned to be, then you're all done with the book, guys. That's amazing and fantastic and super duper cool. So as you saw, this whole chapter is all about a bunch of random stuff. This is, I like to call this the chapter of stuff that you're never going to remember ever again. This is the chapter of things that you are just going to look up when you need to know them in your job. That's okay. It is good to have seen it so that you know how to look it up, so that if someone ever asks you to do it, you can. So we're going to do accented words, special symbols, and specialized circumstances. But we're going to start with a review. So in 2 to 3 sentences, describe in Braille an instrument you play or have always wanted to learn. What do you like about it? Braille, the answer to that question, please. In code correct UEB. Give you guys 3 or 4 minutes to get that going. All right, so what sorts of instruments did you guys come up to talk about? Did you notice there are any instruments as you went to do this that you're like, oh, that's a weird one to write a contraction for? So if you'd be so kind, drop in the chat the instrument you chose to talk about and any fun contractions, be they word sign, group sign, etc., that you had a fun occasion to use. Piano, saxophone, flute, banjo, hopeful, no good contractions except GD, which I am not. Very funny. What I came up with. Although I had to study many instruments in college, my favorite to play is the piano. I love the spectrum. Oh, I spelled out of. What am I doing? We all make mistakes of sounds and styles. It can play! Exclamation point. So last week was a crazy lot of information. I wanted to make sure I give you guys a chance before we dive into 12 to ask any questions you have, or if anything's come up in the last week that you're like, what on earth, before we dive into the chapter 12 specific stuff. So if you have any questions about any of this stuff, I got emails about one or two of those sorts of questions, but if there's more of that, I'd love to know. No one has questions? I'm amazed. Not seeing any right now. If they pop in, I'll happily answer them. For now, let's just go ahead and go through 12 and do some brailing, and then next week is all about questions and final stuff too. So we get to do grave accents, acute accents, circumflex accents, cedillas, tildes, and umlauts. all of those accent symbols start with a 4-5. This is almost always going to be in the context of foreign words used in an English context, or like if you are transcribing, you know, like a beginning Spanish worksheet or stuff like that, foreign words used in an English context. Excuse me if I yawn, it's been a long day. But foreign words used in this English context, there are actually foreign Braille codes. There are codes for languages that are not English. Obviously, the E in UEB is English Braille. If you are brailing an entire document in Spanish, that's a different code. If you're brailing an entire document in French, that's a different code with different contractions. So at least you don't have to learn that. I know it's been a hard few months, but at least I'm not making you learn the Spanish Braille code. So how do you use those? You place them before the letter they go with. They go immediately before the letter. So if you have like a type form indicator or a capitals indicator, all of those go in front of the modifier. So if the capital letter is like a umlauted U, it goes capital indicator, then umlaut, then U. And you can't contract modified letters. So if it has an accent mark, you cannot use it in a contraction. So if it's ER, like if you could normally use the 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 ER contraction, but if the E has an acute accent on it, you no longer get to use an ER. You just get to write the acute accent and then E and then R. That's the rule. Obviously, if the whole passage is in a different code, you should probably learn that code, but we're not talking about that. These will be one-offs in English. This is easier than it was in eBay, by the way. Some more symbols. The super long dash. An underscore or a low line. Oh, why have I done this? Here we go. We have the backslash. The paragraph indicator, the section indicator, and the tilde. That is the tilde by itself as opposed to a tilde over a letter like an NA. Use the symbols unless you're not allowed to use the symbols. You cannot use the long dash unless you need a longer dash than the regular dash. So if your text has two different kinds of dash and you need to show them differently, that is when that long dash, the dash with the dot in front of it, comes in. Otherwise, just use the long dash, or the regular dash, the 6, 3, 6, as opposed to the one up here, the 5, 6, 3, 6. You only get to use that one if you've already used a 6, 3, 6, and you need a longer one. And we use underscore for electronic addresses like blank underscore blank. It's the thing you get if you type shift and the dash on your keyboard. It also is used for like fill in the blanks. So no matter how long a fill in the blank is, you use one of those 4, 6, 3, 6 symbols. You don't need to like make a little line of 3 6s like some people are used to doing in like worksheets, that kind of thing. Just one underscore. So partial capitalization, stammered speech, spelled out words, all of that, basically Braille it the way it's printed. Use contractions as long as they're not divided around among capitalized and non-capitalized portions of the word. So obviously it's a contraction, so you're not going to be able to put a capitals mode terminator in the middle of it. So if you would need to, you have to spell it out. Words that are spelled out have to follow the rules for grade 1 mode and capitalization, obviously. Then here's a few more fun symbols. The ditto mark, a tally, 5 tally, like a tally of 5, so the 4 with a line through it. A line continuation indicator, which is a fancy word for a dot. And then it gave you all of these weird Roman numeral guys. So symbols for ditto marks and tally marks as shown in print. Roman numerals that could be confused. So Roman numerals are, you know, X, XX, or I, IV, IV, or VI, IXX, XL, L, VXL. They're the things they call Super Bowls. They title Super Bowls after. If they could be confused with an alphabetic word sign, for example, X is a Roman numeral, you need this grade 1 indicator if it's confusable. The numeric space indicators are used to show that groups of numerals are part of a single number, such as a phone number, so that a new numeric indicator is not needed. So if you spaced out a phone number, 1-800, blah, 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 you can use that numeric space indicator, that .5, so that you don't have to put a new number sign in front of each one. And the numeric line continuator indicators, holy nuts, that's a hard thing to say, are used when a very long number is continued onto the next line. The numeric indicator would not be needed if you use the numeric line indicator. Continuator indicator. Numeric line continuator indicator. Oh my gosh. That was painful to say. Are we having fun yet? My dog's having fun. He'd like to go to sleep, it seems.
Sharper than that.
Someone had accidentally unmuted. I remuted you, but if you needed me, just unmute again and talk to me. Let's talk about fractions. Yes, learning Braille is fun, but my brain is exhausted. That makes so much sense. My brain is just exhausted from today, but especially after this whole couple hundred pages of book, I understand that. Fractions. Obviously, a lot of us are going to be encountering fractions in their, you know, mathematical sense, and that's Nemeth, and that's another thing entirely. But when you have complicated fractions that you are going to Braille in UEB, and you might also see a lot of simple fractions, those are the kinds that you see in like a recipe, stuff like that. These indicators you use if the numerator or denominator of a fraction contains anything other than numbers, decimal points, commas, or separator spaces, such as letters, dollar signs, etc. Use general fraction line with those fractions. And if they're in a contracted passage, you need a grade 1 indicator, obviously, because they look like of and with. This is super edge case stuff. Like, it is, some of these things are the kinds of things that they like to put on the Braille test to make sure that you know about them. Some of these things are archaic things you will never ever use again. So, any questions about any of that before we start sentencing? For whatever reason, I've only got the first 10 of the practice sentences in the PowerPoint today. So I'm going to give us a couple to do, but they're also fun and tricky. So figure it won't hurt to have a little bit of extra time. So many of these are good. This first one, I think we should try. How about we try a version of this where I just give us 12 minutes or so and see how many of these we get to. So number 1, my nephew plays Queensrÿche. That's a Y umlauted. No, it is. It's an umlauted Y, and Blue Oyster, but with an umlaut over the O, Oyster Cult. The bands are both capitalized. As loudly as possible. Period. My nephew plays Queensrÿche and Blue Oyster Cult. Those are the capital words, capitalized ones, and Oyster is a capitalized O with an umlaut, and Queensrÿche is Queensry with an umlaut, CHE. As loudly as possible. Number 2, Mr. Blank said, comma, open quote, class, comma, please stand for, open inner quote, the Pledge of Allegiance, period, end inner quote, end outer quote. Number 3, the Broadway play, open quote, the Broadway is capitalized, play, inner quote, Cats, was, and then straight bracket, according to the Nashville Banner, those 2 words capitalized, on 5/5/11, closed bracket, a smash hit, comma, end quote, said Mrs. McNabb's son. McNabb has an inner capped N, MCNAB, apostrophe S, son, and then dash, an entertainment critic, period. 4, Bridget tallied her lemonade sales by marking her chalkboard 5, so 4 tallies, vertical tallies with a line through, and then 3 more tallies after that, separated by a space. And 5, E-mail me at Andrew _ capital A in Andrew _ W at cookbest.com for my eclair with an acute accent over the E, eclair recipe, period. Commence with the clickety-clacking. How are you guys doing with that group of stuff? If you want to just drop in the chat, maybe what number you're on, or if you've done all of them. See a couple of readies. Done, but didn't know how to underline the email address. Is there anyone who, excuse me, is there anyone who would like to take a swing at reading one of them to us, like telling us where the contractions and the fun dots are in one of the sentences? Is that better? You couldn't see it. Is that better? Yay! Would anyone like to take a swing at reading it to us? I guess I can do it if you don't want to. So in that first sentence, I'm going to skip the parts that are easy. My nephew plays, so Queensryche, which I do not know what that is, but it's got a capital Q-U-E, and then we have a contraction for E-N, S-R, and then we have the 4-5-2-5 for umlaut, Y, and then the contraction for CH. And we have the word and, capital blue, capital oyster. So we have the capital sign, then the 4-5-2-5 for umlaut, O, Y, and then S-T-E-R. Capital cult, as Z loudly as possible. In number 2, Mr. Blank. So Mr. cap MR period, and then the blank we write is a 4-6-3-6, just one of them, no matter how long the line is. If it's one blank, you write one. Said is SD, comma. Then we open our quote with 2-3-6, have a capital indicator, class, comma, please stand. Stand is ST and then A and D. 4, and we have the inner quote here. So the single quote or the inner quote is a .6 before the quotation mark. So .6, 2, 3, 6. Capital the, capital pledge of, capital allegiance, which has an A-N-C-E at the end. So A-L-L-E-G-I 4-6-E, period. Then we have our .6 before our end quote to end that single quote, the 3-5-6. Then we have another 3-5-6 to end the big quote. In number 3, we have the open quote, 2, 3, 6, the with a capital, Broadway with a capital, play, and we have the same thing with the inner quoted cats. So .6, then 2, 3, 6, then another .6 for the cats, C-A-T-S, then .6, and our end quote is 3-5-6. Was is a drop J, so the 3-5-6. That straight bracket, the square bracket or the straight lined bracket is 4-6-1-2-6. And then we have according is AC, to the Nashville, banner, all those have contractions and stuff, normal things on. Here's our date 5/, a slash is the 4-5-6-3-4, and keep in mind you need a new numeric indicator after the slash. So it's number sign 5 and then 4-5-6-3-4, number sign 5, 4-5-6-3-4, number sign 11, and then we have our closing bracket. So it's 4-6-3-4-5. A smash hit, comma and quote, said Mrs. period, McNabb, apostrophe S. We have those inner cap in there. So cap, MC, cap, N-A-B, apostrophe, which is .3, S. Son, then we have a regular dash there, the 6-3-6. And entertainment is EN, so the 2-6, T, ER, T, A, and then the IN is 3-5, and mint is 5-6, T, critic, period. 4, Bridget tallied her lemonade sales, all of that's really standard, by marking her chalkboard, all of that's real standard. Obviously you got contractions, and then we use our tally indicators here. So it's 4-5-6, 4-5-6, 4-5-6, 4-5-6, 2-5, that makes 5. And then 4-5-6, 4-5-6, 4-5-6, that's 3 more. So she sold 8 lemonades. Good job, Bridget. And the fun one. Number 5, for email, since it's an E with a hyphen mail, we need that grade 1 mode indicator. So 5-6-6 E, 3-6 MAIL, me at. Underlining the email address you do with an underlined word indicator, which is a 4-5-6 and then a 2. Then we have the capital sign for the capital A on Andrew, which is also a contraction, so it's capital indicator. And then and is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, REW. And then we have a 4-6-3-6 for the underscore, W. At sign is 4, then 1. Cook best, COOKBE, and then the ST sign is 3-4. Dot or period is a 2-5-6, com. Then we keep on trucking for my eclair, and we put the acute accent over the E, so it's going to be the 4-5-3-4 ECLAIR recipe, period. Any questions about any of that? Thank you. I've just had an explanation made to me of what that band was. 80s, 90s band is Queen. I've been saying it in like a garbage German accent just to be fun. Queensreich. I'm assuming that's not their name. Thank you, Chrissy. Thank you guys for knowing things. I teach music. You would think I'd know anything. Any questions about why particular things? Why not other particular things? What on earth? Dots are weird.
Hey, Shane, I have a question about that .5 line continuation indicator.
Yeah.
Can you just stick that anywhere you want between any I don't know, symbols?
So the line, so the .5 one that showed up with the numbers, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the .5 on number 5 that's in the middle of the email address, or maybe it wasn't on number 5. I can't remember which one you put it on. The middle of the email address.
Yeah, let me look. I didn't think I did that on purpose. So if we look at the email address, is it still up there for you?
Yeah.
So we have underlined word, capital, and Andrew. Then we have the underscore because it was a low line there because it's in the print of the email address. W. Oh, yeah, that's a typo. Thank you.
Oh, all right.
Yep, that was wrong. Good catch. I had an extra .5 before the cook in Cook's Best. Yeah, that's nothing. That's not a thing. That was me hitting a key on, I accidentally typed K. Good catch, thank you.
Okay, then maybe my question should be, if you have a website address that is longer than the page, how do you, what is it that says no, continue on to the next line?
You would do it as a hyphenated divided word. Okay. For UEB thinks websites and email addresses are just words. So you would just follow the rules for hyphenation at that point. If you can get the whole thing into 40 cells and just start it on its own line, you'll be happier than if you have to do the other thing. But like, if you have a long enough web address, it may literally be impossible to write in 40 cells, and you're just gonna hyphenate it like a word. So you're gonna look for an appropriate stopping spot and then use the rules for hyphenation.
Okay, that makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, internet. Making our lives hard. It's the only time I'm ever going to say you're allowed to hyphenate things. The grade one, sorry. Should the W in the email have a grade 1 indicator? I went back and forth on this. So it would need grade 1 because the idea is that it could be confused for standing for will, right? So alphabetic word signs have to be standing alone is the rule. So the question is whether the W needs a grade 1 symbol. So what we need to figure out is whether an underscore and an @ sign, having an underscore and an @ sign on either side, makes something stand alone or not. If you want to play along at home, I am going to the Rules of Unified English Braille, 2nd edition, published in 2013. And I'm going to look for the rules about standing alone. Section 2.6 defines standing alone, apparently. A letter or letter sequence is considered to be standing alone if it is preceded and followed by a space, a hyphen, or a dash. The dash may be of any length. It's allowed to have punctuation in front of it between it and a space. And let's look at the other funky places. So 2.6 is the rule. 264 is where it gets funky. Word with interior apostrophes. So none of the rules for standing alone tell me that you would read that W as a will, because an underscore is not a dash and there is not a space after it. If someone knows that I am wrong and like wants to tell me, I also went back and forth on this. So actually the answer key I got for this transcription from the teacher's version of the Ashcroft book has a grade 1 indicator there. So if anyone finds out for sure, please tell me.
Are there times when it could go either way?
It should be clear, like basically you grade 1 mode anything that would be read as a contraction if you didn't.
Right.
The idea is that like there's a specific set of rules that tell you when a letter standing by itself is has a chance to be an alphabetic word sign and when it doesn't. And it has to be standing alone to count as an alphabetic word sign. And none of the rules of standing alone include having like an underscore or an @ sign. So ideally it would, not ideally, but based on the way I read the rules, it shouldn't. I might be missing something. That's always possible. I miss a lot of stuff. There should not be like it could be or it couldn't be. There is theoretically a correct answer to every question. I am just not 100% sure whether I found it yet.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there is a correct answer. I am just not quite certain that I've discovered it. I'm pretty sure that I've discovered it, but I am open to being wrong, especially about that one, because it's funky. We have a little bit of time left, so I'm just going to throw you guys these sentences, and we'll take a look at what's left of these. Number 8 is a really good one on here. We don't have a ton of time left, so I'm just gonna show you number 8. You're welcome to do more of these. My teeth are chattering because I'm freezing, yelled Vienna. So it's funky. So we got an open quote, my teeth, so it's T dash or T hyphen teeth are CH hyphen chattering because I'm, and then we've got freezing. So FREEZ, all capitalized, ING, lowercase, exclamation point, end quote, yelled Vienna. And Vienna is the name, so it's capitalized. Pretend I capitalized the word my at the beginning of that sentence, because I forgot to, but that's dumb. Sorry, I typed it in bad. All right, are you guys about ready to see the sentence 8? My teeth. So for teeth, we need grade 1 indicator T hyphen. Grade 1 indicator T hyphen. TEETH. Obviously the TH is a contraction. R. And then for chattering, we have to spell out CH hyphen, and then you can use the CH contraction, ATTERING. Because is a 2-3-C, I'm, and then we're going to use the double cap, so the capital word indicator, 6, FREEZ. Then we'll use capital terminator, so 6, 3, and then the ING contraction. Then we have our exclamation point and our closing quotation mark. Yelled Vienna, and Vienna has the EN in it. So if you guys have any questions, I'm here for a minute. Otherwise, next week is our last week together. So when we get together next week at 4, I will go over what you guys need to know about things like clock hours, answer any questions you have about random Braille things. And I also plan to have for you guys next week when we meet an example of the instructions on the full Washington UEB test, the first one, the initial one, the hard one. And I also plan to have for you, I'm writing you a practice test. There's not an official practice test, but I'm writing one. So I will have that to give out to you guys for you to ask some questions about, and I will give you a key, an answer key, so that you can try that. If you have any questions between now and then, feel free to email me. Otherwise, I'll see you next week at 4 on our last time together, and we'll go over all of the clock hours and the random questions and what to expect from taking the test. Otherwise, if you guys have, woohoo, schedule the test. Thank you, Carol. So let me know if you guys need anything, have any questions or anything. Otherwise, I will catch you guys next week. You guys finished the whole book. You don't have anything else to learn. Now you just have to use it. You're very welcome for this class. Thank you guys for being so great. It's a pleasure to get to talk to you guys every week. And yes, I saw some of you said, I will see you at the conference. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at the conference as well. I'll be at AER. I'm presenting the UEB refresher. So it's all of this, but in 70 minutes. And then I'm also presenting on having inclusive music classrooms, because that's my day job. So talking at AER with Megan Stott from Outreach here at Wssb about solutions for helping your student with visual impairments in a music class.